we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We have. If you look at the lineup, KP, we have quite a few stories that kind of bring an eye raise. Let's just say the least. You want to go ahead and get into the stories, KP?
Well, yeah, I have. This is a different story, but it's still concerning. Like I said, suspect arrested after a woman is shot at during a road rage shooting in Rankin County. A woman was shot in what is believed by authorities to be a road rage shooting near the Ross Barnett Reservoir in Rankin County. According to Reservoir Police Department, the incident happened on Sunday around 9:07 p.m. on Speedway Road at the intersection of North Shore Parkway and Old Fannin Road. Our preliminary investigation revealed that a female driver traveling westbound on Spillway Road noticed the vehicle following close behind her. When the woman stopped at the red light at the intersection, Reservoir Police said the suspect, identified as 43-year-old Walter Dennis Ainsworth, pulled next to her and began firing shots at the victim. This is Rankin County.
I saw something about that at the end, and I didn't. Let me see. Yeah, Reservoir Police. So what did I mean? Do we know any more information about who that was or who was involved? Did they arrest somebody? Did you say that and I missed it? Yeah.
Oh well, they said that he was arrested afternoon by the Madison Police Department and Reservoir.
That wasn't the gentleman that they said pulled the gun out on the parent and the two children, was it? There was so many incidents. There was another one that was really making his rounds.
Well, my thing about it is he was only charged with aggravated assault.
Oh, I see. I know the one. And this is the sad thing. There's so many of them. They actually look just alike too. One that pulled out a gun on the father and his two children. But this is the suspect that shot at the woman that you're referencing. So you're saying they only charged him with what?
Aggravated assault.
I see, 43-year-old Walter Dennis Ainsworth. I found it. I was on a story that I had pulled up myself. Police say the woman was not struck by the bullet, and they charged him with, how is that not, okay, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and drive-by shooting into an occupied vehicle,
It's still a little light, considering they were in traffic.
I would wonder what the weight is for it to be attempted murder. I mean, when you're shooting at somebody in that nature. I just know growing up, I remember the attempted murder charge was levied at folks a lot, the young people, and that just assault. Just hearing assault when you're shooting a gun at somebody just to me seems off.
Yeah, that's very especially in Rankin County. It's known for a lot of assault.
It's a little less off in Rankin County, right? And if you live in Rankin County,
it's on brand for
that's on brand.
Being quiet about it,
absolutely, and you got to speak truth. I mean, Rankin County you just have had some challenges. And you got some good people, but you got some terrible people, as you saw with the Goon Squad. So yeah, let's see how that story unfolds. I'd be very interested in knowing the nature of the charge. Did they charge him right away, or did I hear you say there was a pause before they charged him, KP?
They charged him right away.
Okay, the incident happened Sunday at 9. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I think it also speaks to, we don't know much more about it, people, but I think I can go as far as to say I've seen enough incidents to know that there's a different atmosphere out here where folks are just ready to, a lot of times folks are just ready, and let's just be honest about it, to aggressively confront our woman. It just seems to be a trend. And my wife was at the, sometimes that Cedric, y'all remember that Cedric the Entertainer, the Kings of Comedy, when he talked about that wish factor? You wish someone would? Well, I'm not going to say that I'm the toughest guy in the world. I'm pretty big size. But I never wished I was somewhere. As my wife was right over there at the car wash, and a guy drove by. It doesn't matter who the guy was, but a guy drove by, the usual suspect, and yelled a curse word at her and actually kind of threatened my 11-year daughter that was standing with her. And of course, you see some of these incidents they're starting to hype up. But I just don't have those experiences. I mean, if I'm not being threatened by the police, I just don't seem to have, I don't seem to have that experience where these same actors are coming up to me. But my wife comes home, we at the same place, same time.
It's just the women. The cowards always try to attack the soft targets. They try to attack our women all the time. It's nothing new.
Yeah, this is that to me that's ridiculous. But I'm not going to go much deeper into it because this narrative they're trying to spread of such a divide amongst us. Listen, go ahead and try it with the majority of black women I know. You don't know who's sitting in the car and who's waiting. That's all I'm going to say. You don't know who their son is, their brother. I don't know who all these black men are that y'all know or the social media knows. Mm-hmm. But all I'm going to say is go ahead and try it. I wish you wouldn't, but try that with any black man that I know. And in my circle I've met, I've come across with it, that I visited in a prison. I mean, you do that with their family members, you're going to have a real problem. So don't drink the Kool-Aid and believe that there's this big divide between us and our women. You've lost your mind. like my producer said, they pick soft targets specifically because they're just that, soft targets. But what's next, KP? I don't want to slow us down.
This one's.
Do you want to? I heard you talk about you can go ahead and dive into the 14, the age, the city council.
The city council 14 age.
Yeah.
You want to get back on that?
I mean, because we have it on the email. We have it as we have it as part. So one of them I can. Just because you talked about it, when you started, the city divided is what he's referencing, and he's going to go deeper into. And I'll read this one, and you can jump in. Go down to the city divided one. But this is WAPT ran it. The city of Jackson lowers minimum working age to 14. That's the headline that you want to look at if you're looking at this. And what it's referencing is the city of Jackson has voted to lower its minimum working age from 16 to 14. And the article's pointing to the fact that not everybody's happy about it. Even the article kind of understands that. So that, KP, I mean, I think it's open to the floor. I know what you think about it. I mean, before you said you felt like they were trying to put the children to work under this administration previously, before this ever came out.
Yeah, I just feel like that this is when y'all talk about how it's the kids' fault, y'all don't understand how much pressure y'all putting the kids under for them to be in it. Y'all saying it's their fault, but then y'all don't think about the stuff they're going through and y'all putting them through. And they're gonna be another you saying it's the kids' fault. I feel like you were taken advantage of when you were young, and you were in a certain situation like now nobody was there to fight for you. So now you don't have the compression in your mind to understand why you feel like it's the kids' fault.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. I mean, no, that's real. If you, I mean, and you know, I just think about my uncles that have said it. You know, why I've been through worse. And I actually, I took that, you know, as you have been through worse, you know. So you're right, KP. If we've been through worse, it doesn't mean we shouldn't want you to go through better.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think that it's sad because sometimes the effect of trauma is to traumatize someone else. And a lot of times you don't recognize that when you're traumatized that you're doing that, you know. And I always like to lead with personal responsibility. Sometimes I'm talking to my daughters and I'm talking to them in such a, they know, and I have 6 children, I've never hit my daughters a day in my life, but I'm talking to them with such a deep voice and it's so aggressive, and they'll look at me and I'll be like, well, what are you worried about? But sometimes we don't understand how the things that we've gone through that have put that edge on us, how that's playing out to other people. Because I was watching a brother on TikTok. A lot of people don't keep it real or even know what that means. But I was watching his brother on TikTok where he was screaming at his child, and someone had videotaped it from next door the car. And he was like, you know, he was kind of hitting the seat, I believe. They thought he was hitting him. He was like, stop, be quiet. And you can see him kind of losing control. And you know, one thing I recognize is that's in all of us. And unfortunately, if you don't recognize what you need to control, that your chance of controlling when that moment comes is all that much lower, you know? You think you're good, and then you lose your temper, and then you never exercise control, and you lose it, right? So it just made me think about a few things. It made me think about one of our callers that has been listening to us from day one, who called in, and this brother called in about mental health. We were talking about violence and all the things plaguing young people, and he was saying, well, we need to look at the mental health of it. But I, you know, as far as what I feel about this city divided, I mean, this is why I said at the beginning of the show, talking to you, albeit over the phone, was that I feel like things are just piling up, right? And the disrespect coming to our citizens is what rolls me up. So, you know, as far as, you know, taking our 14-year-olds to work, plantation mentality. And you all hopefully know me well enough to know that I don't just pitch words around. If there's no foundational basis that I believe that I've compiled evidence to support, I'm not going to say it. That's plantation politics, period. Period. You got Accelerate Mississippi, who's got Governor Tate and all of his buddies sitting on the board. You're going to hand our 14-year-olds to that labor board and tell them what are our leaders thinking? And you have to understand, if you've just started listening, you may take this a certain way, but you're jumping in the middle of a tide. And if you've been listening, you know I don't jump on here and say, what are our listeners? I don't, that's not, but sometimes if the house is on fire, you can't walk in and say, excuse me, it's a little warm in here. And I was wondering if you'd like to take off your jacket while people are burning, right? So, you know, this is the option. We just need some answers. We just need some answers. And I've got a few new listeners here, and one of the point of those listeners and me reaching out to them was making sure that they can understand what we're dealing with here in Mississippi and in Jackson specifically, right? So our children, every other child in Mississippi is getting what they want. We're going to touch on the vouchers system. Holzman, Delbert himself said that he estimates $400 million is going to flow out of the Mississippi public school system, right? So they're getting what they want, these vouchers to go to their private schools. And most of the time, African Americans are not screaming for white children to lose anything. That's the tragedy of it. The love in us, it never allows us to start a call with some other child's destruction. We don't. We just want our children to have some shade of a fair shot at making it. And when you shut down 17 of our schools, and then the Republican governor or the governor himself says another $400 million is going to flow out of that school, KP, talk about, remember we just talked about the violence that just ensued, talk about the type of problem that you think, or that we heard about children encountering when those 17 schools shut down. Remember, there were girls getting jumped on and beat up. There was a lot of violence that carried over from children just being stuck together. Yeah, there was not enough facilities.
That was school. I remember that. I think it was the school right from the radio station up the street. There was a shooting up there. They said they had something about a school shooting out there, but like everybody went to camp when they got their kids. Y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was more than that. It was students just walking out of school.
Those weren't even students. Those were people out the street.
Oh, people out the streets.
Yeah.
No.
But it was school-age kids, but they weren't actually enrolled in that school, I don't believe.
Just walking in school.
Yeah.
Was that Provine?
I believe it was Provine. Correct us if we're wrong. Let me throw that number out there, 601-948-5950. You are not only welcome, we would like you to join the conversation and tell us what you think. Go ahead.
Take the motivation out of school. Like when I was in school, it was more of a pull to go to school. You know, even then, when you was going to school back then, you had a reason to go to school. Even if you didn't go there to learn, you just was going there. You was going to school. Like, oh yeah, I'm fun there. Yeah, it was fun. Now that's not even there no more. You see what I'm saying? At least that would have kind of countered, and you would end up getting motivated to actually learn, even though you was going there for just fun. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like they're taking all the possibilities of our kids wanting to go to school. Our kid, I ain't.
You're around the corner, KP. That's a premonition. I've been waiting for you. But KP, yes, to what you're saying, and a lot of our people here understand this, understand this. That's not a enigma. That's the definition of a slave society that started. And what you see here is you see a caste system being reinforced almost. Mm-hmm. So now you're saying, okay, well, let's find a position under John Horns Jackson, right? Let's find a position for each person in that society. Just like we were looking for positions under Lamona's Jackson. Now, as you know, if anything else, the most radical mayor, you probably had a position, whether you liked it or not, you probably had a position as a Jacksonian in that administration. You may not have liked it. You may have wanted to do something different, more business. But under the Horn administration, we're seeing where you fit in that caste system. So you have those in our community that are well off, that are seeing a benefit from this because of the ability to have our children involved in certain things that other people may not have that access to. And then you see those in Blossom Apartment, they're in a caste system of, I don't even know what you would compare that to, I don't want to disrespect anybody, but they're getting kicked out of apartments with not as much as a stop by the mayor or by anyone in the administration or by any leadership in the state of Mississippi for that matter, right? Just gone. They're just gone. They've been unhoused. Those 100 families, their children are gone, the schools are gone. We don't know how many of them are homeless. Organizations have chased them down, but you don't know that. You don't know how life has gone since they were uprooted, right? And then you have the caste system of, okay, you may have an apartment, you may have a place to live, but you can't afford your child to go to private school. Now that's going to be the masses of Jacksonians. Your child's going to public school. So in that area, I'll let folks call it. In that area, what I see is that, these decisions that are being made are leaving the middle class alone. Yep. And leaving the poor in dire straits.
The Iceberg charter schools is like for like PWIs, public white institutes.
Yeah.
So it's more of their up their alley when their money is going to their charter schools. It's funding their society more than ours.
Absolutely. And our money funds their society as well to a large degree. That's why you see a lot of Jackson money showing up in Flowood, Ridgeland, and Madison. And I think that at this point, we get tired of folks trying to nicely discuss us being raped. And you see that with so many of our people that are in positions of voice. They have a platform. They just, the way they discuss a rape is just it's civil. It's amazing to me. But we're having some problems. We're working across the aisle. Ma'am, they're introducing bills to strip away just because the bill hasn't gone through. What are you working across the aisle to do? And this is an important question, Jackson. Mississippi, the United States. Well, at this point in Mississippi, what are you working across the aisle to do? Because the ship is sinking, and they made it clear they want to sink it. So are you working across the aisle to get a seat with them? And this is not aggressive. Jackson, people, I love you. You have to ask that question at a certain point. What are you working across the aisle to do when across the aisle is lockstep with Trump's policies? So what do I mean by that? Those of you that read the Jump Online, so you have, on one hand, you have the threat of cutting SNAP. You have grocery deserts all throughout the South, right? Especially in the Delta region, right? And we've got to talk about representation there. You've got that happening. Now, you've got Andy Gibson, when you jump on his website, rightfully so, which is what you should do. You just shouldn't be restricting us from anything. All he's preaching is, let's take care of Mississippi's farms. All he's talking about is, here's where you can go to get some fresh chickens and how much we should rely on each other. So they're starting a grassroots movement while we're sitting there looking around for leadership to provide some way out of dependency. Yeah. So
socialism is cool as long as it don't involve black people. That's what I'm getting from Andy Gibson.
Socialism is cool is what my producer says. Socialism is cool as long as it doesn't involve black people. And that's the part, when you listen to and I don't even have a problem with the grassroots approach that the right is taking now. They almost said free the land in one, I was listening to them, and I said, wow. But they understand what's happening because they're helping to perpetuate it.
Back.
Right? So I think that it's very important that we have a further conversation about this, that call to action, where we start talking about just going back to our roots. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to reinvent anything. So, I think that when you talk about the fact that the South maintained a cheap black child labor workforce after slavery, right, through a few different systems, I think that we need to be very alarmed when a Democratic mayor first suggested for how to help our children that don't have jobs, don't have outlets, instead of tutoring, instead of some type of learning center. The first choice is, let's lower the age, they can stop learning even more. So we have a problem with absenteeism. So let's give them even less incentive to come to school, because now you can go and perhaps make a little bit of money at minimum wage with absolutely no, it's like the creation of Valley State all over again. It's almost like we've gone back to 49, 59, and our mayor is walking with them and walking us backwards. And these aren't insulting words, this is reality.
And this question has held it up. A lot of citizens felt the same way we felt. But you got the other side that was like, well, nah, this could be giving them an early way to get started. Well, already get started with.
Those are people that
is over.
Yeah, those are people that are insulting our intelligence, and a lot of times in the lapse of intelligence or understanding, the wolf will make the sheep think he's coming to play Uno.
Yeah.
Right? So child apprenticeships is part of how they maintained slavery once it was over. You gotta understand that. Yanked from their parents. You're my apprentice, you know what? Right? So this is Mississippi. Don't try to trick us. Don't try to rename old things and try to make us believe that you're worried about these children understanding how to work. No, you're not.
You're really not.
There's absolutely nothing my 14-year-old child can learn from cleaning up at City Hall.
Nothing. Welcome to Make Sense, Colin.
Welcome to Make Sense, Anonymous.
Yes, sir. I thought that what you were talking about. Well, the thing about it, what do you have in mind for 14-year-olds to do in Jackson, Mississippi?
I'll definitely answer you. I appreciate you, Cole. Thanks for listening, and thanks for the question. I'll go ahead and answer it for you. So for 14-year-olds in Jackson, Mississippi, first off, I think we finished the track that was already started. One thing I don't believe in, and I've got some great ideas, caller. I don't think that's what the show is about, just me, but my producer's looking at me like, does he know how many ideas you have? But I've got some great ideas, caller. But I have to say, I'm not one to reinvent a wheel that's rolling, right? So if you look into the background of what I'm saying, you've got to remove these emotions from it, because our children are at stake here, not just how we feel about the way someone talks about who they like or who they don't like, right? If you look at when the previous administration engaged street violence interrupters. Now, but these are our credible messengers. And anybody out there that wants to say a credible messenger is not a credible messenger, we can all get together in a circle and you can tell them that. Because the rest of the city seems to be in full conjunction that they're credible messengers. They're credible, they haven't hurt the city, they haven't hurt their friends, they haven't hurt their crew, and they're trying to do right for their people. So they were out here, Operation Good. You have Strong Arms of Jackson. You have what's John? John Knight. John Knight has an organization that he does this as well. And you have churches, you have after school programs. So I'm not going to pretend that wasn't working. The city invested $150,000 into these groups and said, let's train more credible messengers. I mean, these groups boasted 30, 60 days of no shooting on the streets. So people need to miss us with that talk about stopping violence. Because you don't know anyone stopped it. You've never stopped it. Not one police car has ever stopped it. You can't help the community stop it. So for the love of God, and I'm with this gentleman, I'm echoing him, please shut up, be quiet if you don't have a plan, and please stop screaming policing as if there's not a plan already in place that was working. You had folks stopping violence, but instead of continuing the funding, we decided not to. Now, God willing, those groups continue to get funding in another way, and they continue to fight and push to stop these young men from the violence that's happening. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again when you ask me a plan. Listen, if you think that you're going to engage men in suits at Capitol Hill to stop young people shooting in the streets when they have had no support, no guidance, and I said they're shooting first, so don't say I'm not being accountable. When they've had no support, no guidance, and then as an adult, we want to look around and say, well, what should we do with them? Well, first off, we should do our job, right? We should read. We should look what the policy is doing. We should look at what legislation is doing. We should look at all of the resources that our children are supposed to have that most of us cowardly 40-plus-year-olds had when we were growing up. We could go to a library and sit down and read a book. We could go to a library and drink out of that big McDonald's Kool-Aid, get some Kool-Aid or some free lunches in the summer. We had access to all those things. Now these babies don't, and we're looking around talking about somebody so wild. Well, maybe because we didn't step in and do it when me leading the way, do what we needed to do. I'm gonna pass that question to you though, KP. So what plan do you have other than them cleaning up City Hall for the 14-year-olds? Is what the gentleman's asking.
What other plan do I have? Well, as you can see right now, we're having problems with food, SNAP benefits. So one of the things that could happen is some of these black farmers can come along, recruit some of these kids, start a
Community
internship.
garden. Community garden.
Community garden.
Yes, sir.
Self-governance, have them in class, teaching them about black communities.
We have more colleges in this town than most. I don't believe that these universities don't have something positive they could be teaching the community or these kids, or have something better for them to do than to pick up trash. I don't believe that. I don't buy that.
There's way more opportunities out here.
Absolutely.
Trash is not the
Well,
biggest problem in Jackson right now.
and when my producer jumps in, guys, it's serious, and I'm saying that lightly, but I'm not. I mean, but you got to understand, when the gentleman said, what can you do? And I'm going to sit on you for a second, brother. I appreciate you calling in. And we take and I want y'all to back me up out here, KP, right? I take anonymous, I take them all, right?
Yeah.
I just want to understand, some people ain't going to let you through. I think you have a right to speak, whether or not you want your face shown or
I
not.
just know who he is.
Yeah, but I mean, and I'm okay with that question. I'm good with it. Some people are angry that you have another view. I'm not angry at all. I just want us to come together and make a stand. That's ultimately, yeah, KP, that's ultimately what we want. But what my producer just said is real, and let's have that conversation. I want somebody to call in and say that's a good idea. Because I don't want to waste time talking about whether it's a bad idea. I feel collectively we know it's a bad idea so let's slow down. Let's look at who is getting the handouts before we say it's bad our children have to clean up. So we see the vouchers have passed through for all of the other children that can afford that, right, in this state. So now they're going to get the schooling that they want, right? You see a lot of the laws being stripped away in terms of what can be said, what can't be said in this state, what can be taught in school, what can't be taught in school. DEI has been stripped away. So Mississippi far right has got a lot of what they wanted, right? So Jackson is a democratically led city, right? So now we come into Jackson. So the first thing that we see when the mayor comes in is we see Prado building up on Meadowbrook and State Street. He got $1.2 million in tax investment money. So now when I repeat this, don't get mad. Right? Get mad at opinions. Get mad at feelings. Don't ever get mad at facts, right? So Prado got $1.2 million to build up over there. Don Prado's also the one with the Don Gabriel Markets, where he's charging $11.99 for water. And we see that when we pulled it up under the LLC, under the business registry, it's registered as a supermarket or grocery store, which means legally it's supposed to have deli meat and other things that qualify as a grocery store. And then you tell me if you go into a Don Gabriel Market and they have any of those things. And what?
Produce.
And produce, absolutely. So you let me know if you've gone into it. See, when I'm calling out smoke signals and red flags, it's almost like my daughter or your sister's at the table, and you're like, yeah, listen. And I saw him punch his sister in the face twice, and she's like, yeah, well, you know what? We had such a good time here. And I also saw him kick a female attendant in the chest when she told him he had a ticket. We're waving these flags about things that are happening, and our babies are getting nothing. At least we should hear echoes from the community that, yes, this is happening, or no, it's not. That's what our children are looking for, and that's what they're missing.
And as long as y'all spend money in these stores like Dunn gave you, as long as y'all spend the money in these people's stores, they gonna treat y'all the way they want to treat y'all. I just want y'all to know that because they see y'all keep coming back. So you know what I'm saying? Why I gotta listen to what you're saying? Unless you mess up their money.
Absolutely.
We stopped shopping at Target. You see how that went. So I mean, it's a majority of us. We can do this.
You see a strike being called for when the Democrats feel offended, right? You should feel offended.
Whether it make sense, Carly, you on there?
Yeah, good afternoon, John Berry, Vice President of ASEAN. Of course.
Good afternoon, and thank you for listening, John.
Oh man, I love y'all topic today because this is one of the things that's dear to my heart is our next generation of leaders.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that bothers me more than anything is how you going to have a college of 7 colleges and universities, the largest city in the state of Mississippi.
That's right.
All this brain trust, and we can't solve social problems.
That's right. I just
Now,
spoke.
another thing that bothers me more than anything, I'm a native of the Delta. I'm mystified that most people don't understand mathematics. You know, politics is about policy. And you have to choose the right person in order to effectively have efficient policy. Unless I've missed something, I'm missing a lot. And that I have never seen a place that's divided by direction and misdirection when we can just be all on the same pathway, which is upward. Can someone please explain to me why is that? And before I go, keep in mind this weekend that we're having a free health fair for anyone that want to attend, so we can address some of those health issues, mental issues, and financial issues that are plaguing our community.
That's for
At
location.
the Willowwood Community Center this weekend.
Tell them that location one more time.
The Willowwood Community Center, right off of Raymond Road. I'm driving right now. I don't have the address in front of me.
That's okay. Folks can pull it up.
Okay, yeah. And again, I just wanted the colony and the native of Jackson. Because I want to hear the brother's point on this. How can you allow your babies and our future leaders to fall in disrepair and we sitting around waiting on something or someone to fall out the sky to save us?
And yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. A lot of these, like I was saying earlier, we're gonna have to team up with a lot of these black entrepreneurs. That's for the community. These black farmers. A lot of us, we're gonna have to be a lot of self-governance going on because we are in total annihilation right now. There's no more holding back.
And you gotta also, my brother, we've got to start to have an appetite for the answer to that, and the factual answer to that. So when we ask how can we have this problem, at a certain point, these streets, and I say, man, I struggle with this, brother. We all struggle, and listen to what I'm saying. Now, Jackson, Mississippi, the world, everyone listen to what I'm saying clearly. Our children will ridicule us if we continue to ask, why is the leader going out and getting 100 bananas, but we don't see any? At a certain point, we have to start from the foundation. Look, our leaders are getting enough funds to support us, right? Because the money's flowing through Jackson. So there's not a question, just like when people say to the federal government, well, you've got money for wars, but you don't have money to keep the economy going. Well, the children are going to ask, how can a parent say, Keisha and them got locked up, and Momo's little son is going to jail, but no one ever called in, even a brother can block his call anonymously and call us and say, well, what you gonna do? But no one can anonymously block and just be real and say, well, listen, John Horn has made sure that every single body except Jacksonians that are from a certain background are being cared for. And one day the children will ask, well, Pop, Mama, why did you just sit quietly? Did you not see that he was getting campaign donation from Chip Triplett from the Parks Company? Did you not see that builders were on all over his campaign donations? And when it came time for Blossom Apartments, and they all got kicked out, and he said, I'll get you 5 days, no more. You didn't think that was strange? You don't think it's strange that on his transitional team, he has the son of Herring, who overturned the abortion ban. He has Surinder Singh, who said that James Hawthorne, who got shot in the head here in Jackson, local, native, whose mother cried, who said that boy wasn't worth the pack of six-pack. And then you have somebody on here who helped to take over a lot of what Jackson is. Then you turn to your board of home board. This is the board, my friend, that's supposed to help these folks not get kicked out. Look at the woman that leads that. Her company actually takes over dilapidated properties and builds it up for luxury apartments. Our children are going to be disgusted if we continue to ask what's happening instead of why is it happening. It's clear what's happening. All you got to do is go to the state of Mississippi website, the lieutenant governor. There's going to be a link that you click on, and you can put that business in there. It's going to tell you who owns that business. and you're going to understand, and then go to them campaign donations and put your leader in, at least understand who the heck is paying your leaders. Because then you wouldn't feel so bothered when they're doing this. We don't feel bothered here, my brother. We just feel frustrated that no one saw the signs during the election when this young man was screaming at the top of his lungs, hey, listen, the North Side Sun is asking us to vote for this person. Do we want to stop and have a conversation? Not about the validity of John Horn as a person, but as to why our enemies are so dang licking at the chop to get to this person?
What is it that our civics 101 not taught on a junior high and high school level so we can understand the roles and responsibilities and make sure that whoever we choose us and not the special interest?
The same reason Valley State University was created. The same reason Valley State University was created. Because it was at a time when they wanted to make sure that that money, let me finish this, my brother, for the team, for the people. It was at a time when, because I come, my grandmother is a teacher in Hattiesburg, I come from historical. It was a time when they wanted to make sure all of the money, black people were starting to push for integration in schools. They wanted to make sure all of the money for the real schooling went to the white children. So they opened up a vocational school to ensure that the only thing your children learned was how to serve them. Now that's just the facts. You can look it up, and that's what it is. And that's what's happening right now.
I'm following Mr.
So you know that that's factual, yes, sir.
So now I'm gonna tell you, but it's always said Mississippi was done like that because the longest land grant through the HBCU is all corn. But again, we understand the historical standpoint of where we are in the education system. My thing moving forward is... My brother, I'm going to push back against that. How do you say we understand that and we have personnel within our community sitting on the Mississippi Charter School Authorization Board making moves to hurt our children right across the street from us? And I'm sorry to feel like that I'm pushing back, but at some point, this is what I'm saying. This show, if you've been listening, we have laid out, and those that have been listening, they understand what I'm saying, brother. I'm not just going at you. They know that what this whole show is about our children's education, elections, and how we position ourselves for power. And what we have unraveled since, March of this year, is from segregation to sabotage. How our school system has been set up from the time they tried to close down 17 public schools, and you heard your mayor saying they begged the senator for help, and he said we can't stop that shutdown to where we are now. So 100% what you're saying is true, but we've got to start saying we know what happened, so why are our leaders not making decisions that support us? That is a $100 million question. I wish I had a simple solution, but I don't.
Follow the money. That's what I say. Follow the money. And I promise you that solution will come up, my brother. It's right there. So that's the beauty. We no longer have to tell them, well, hold tight, because you said you don't know, my brother, and I do. Thank you. So if we follow the money here in Mississippi, if we pay for the LLC a tool where you can put in the name and the LLC comes up, KP fully knows what happened. Because we spent months researching it. What's happening is Lumumba was put, for whatever his faults and pluses are, this ain't no speech for him, he was pushing back against entities taking over certain parts of Jackson. Because of that, the FBI, the NBA, these parts are factual. They got together with the Republican Party, the Northside Sun. They picked some candidates. You saw the downtown Jackson partners. They met together. They looked at John Horn. They looked at Tim. Tim wasn't trying to go the whole way, so Tim somehow fell out of favor. And John got picked as the one that was best suited for what the Republicans wanted to do here in Jackson. Now, I'm sorry. You can hate me. People can kick me out. But I'm not going to lie to these babies like I don't know what happened. I know exactly what happened. And then, as soon as the administration took office, we saw him paying back everybody that came in. We see the money flowing out of Jackson. These Tougaloo students, these Jackson State students, they're not stupid. And that's why the brain drain's happening. That's why they're leaving. I've got 6 children and I can hear the rumbling already. Right? That's why they're leaving, because they're like, well, your parents know what's going on. We see what's going on. If they ain't going to do nothing, what am I stay for? Right? We know for a fact what is happening. Now what we need to ask is, what are we going to do about it? At what point do we put our foot down?
Moving forward, how do we resolve and solve? I agree.
We hold them accountable. If we just walked up right to that, we hold, and you can lead me more than I can lead you, my brother. We hold them accountable because we understand what the Abenathies would have done, what the Everetts would have done. We understand what collective reasoning looks like. So if you're doing what I call plantation politics, when you're doing policy that aligns with what the far right is looking for, that adheres back to the plantation days, when that plantation preacher helped keep black folks in line so that they can make the folks in power the most money. That's what's happening here. And until the adults here start, I don't have all the answers, but I definitely understand how to take action. And we're doing that together. If you look at our website, first off, we take track of everything that's happened. We'll get involved in anything from a lawsuit to showing up at City Hall, which we did, and our listeners showed up and they were standing room only. We've got to keep doing that. If you notice on our website, they had a hearing at the legislative committee about charter schools and vouchers with Scott White, I believe, trying to push even further. I streamed that on our website. We've got to start looking at what they're doing, not because we can stop them, because then, my brother, we'll see who's colluding with them. We're not trying to change white supremacy. We're trying to say if we're getting $10 for the love of God, let that $10 flow to the people. And right now it's not flowing to the people, my brother. But we appreciate your call. We're going to let some other callers come in. We thank you. And I just think that brother's on point. He's called a few times. How did I always do that? There was a red call at the bottom. If you call back in, I apologize if I cut you off. I always cut off the next one. Please. I'm sorry if I cut you off there, Carl. I was trying to, every time I come off a passionate discussion from a factual standpoint. But that's necessary, guys. I have no apologies at all. Right? Oh, here we go. You came right back on it. Mr. Bird, go ahead. Last words for you, my brother. We didn't have to call that. I'm sorry.
Last word is, we on the same team, on the same page, on the same direction.
Yes, sir.
I just don't want anyone to think that because of how you derive at a solution don't mean that you can't look into a solution.
That's right.
It's mathematically impossible and politically impossible not to come up with one. I don't know, man. Y'all keep on being, hey, keep your voices loud, man. Keep your voices loud.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for listening.
And again, see, as I said, they're down here for free. FREE.
I love that, and make sure people come out, and we'll post it. I'll try to get with you offline and see if you can send me a flyer, and I'll post it. Anything for the people, I'll post. Okay, my brother.
Oh, man, I can't hear about people helping, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's one of the biggest things that we have to start doing for self because we can see it starting to be pulled away from us.
I agree.
Okay, but if you're okay with me calling you, I'll give you a call back, sir, okay?
Oh, man, call me back, man. Hey, I'm a servant. That's my title. I don't have a one title, servant.
All right, we appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. Any other stories that you want to touch on, KP?
I mean, we almost there.
Yeah.
But that's one of the answers to the anonymous caller calling in was like, well, what do we do? Well, that's your answer right there. You call in and you come up with a solution. And you so stuck on. I feel like the anonymous caller was stuck on trying to make us look like we don't know what we're talking about. But when you are so deep in roots, when you're so deep rooted into what you're doing, that thought is just it's like a little brush on our shoulder. Like, you don't know what you're messing with.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
now you see what the result is.
Yeah. The audacity of hope is strong, man. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. When you're in a situation where you just haven't seen help in your lifetime, you know, the crab in the barrel mentality is real, and it's just, I'd rather you down here with me than you trying to go to a place where I don't think we can make it to. And so I have patience with those brothers and sisters, as I hope people have patience with me. But folks are going to have to understand something clearly, Jackson. We'll be back tomorrow to pick it back up in Mississippi and the U.S. Listen, we started with the analogy of food. If you don't understand the ingredients in what you're eating, you're going to get heartburn. We're stepping it up, you know, and I said this in each show. This is Jackson in crisis. It's Mississippi in crisis. For those inside Jackson, you're starting to feel it, and unfortunately, we're going to feel it even more come the start of the year. For those outside of Jackson, we have plantation politics, plantation Democrats, who are folks that are siding with the GOP here in Mississippi and adopting policies and circulating our funds to people that are hurting us. Right now, the city of Jackson's contracts are flowing money out of the city of Jackson, and we are not seeing anything being done for the children and for the masses here in Jackson. And it's something that we have to really take a look at. And we really have to understand what's happening, because if we don't make it clear who's leading us and who's hurting us, he's asking something. If we don't see who's leading us and who's hurting us, then we're not going to be able to adequately plan. But the tomorrow's show, what we want to talk about a little more is just what KP talked about, what the brother called in and talked about, just cooperatives. How do we come together during this time? What we didn't get time to touch on as much was the government shutdown, the SNAP and WIC benefits, right? Which is food aid for low-income families, supports mothers, infants, and children under 5. We're currently in the middle of the second longest shutdown in U.S. history. As KP so adequately pointed out, we have a president and a leader here in the state and in the city who are all creating disasters and then swooping in to be the person that fixes it. And we have to make sure that we don't allow that narrative to stick. So I think that when we touch back tomorrow, we need to talk about that and then talk about how, as a local community, we can prepare. Because we're getting ready for this, guys. And when I say we're getting ready for it, we've got to make sure our community is okay. So jump online, make It Make Sense JXN. We'll have some more information on there. And until then, you all continue to make it make sense, and we'll see you next time.